All right. Well, maybe it'll be a small crowd today. Not very many people here, but that's okay. There's maybe only a couple of things to discuss, so maybe this will be a short meeting. All right. Well, let's get started. Okay. So I saw one new PR this week, and that was from you, Ronan. Do you want to talk about your Git prefix PR?
Well, the performance is it's a bit an exaggeration. It's just one function that is improved by 15% in calculating some string. It's not no impact on. I don't envision any impact on the system as a whole. I'm not
Okay.
sure. Maybe I should have removed this tag from the name.
Nah, I wouldn't. Don't worry about it. It's good. I like to have more just because then if we see some kind of regression somewhere later on, if it might impact it, that's good to know.
Okay.
So
Well,
yeah,
this
just
is
yeah,
really minor function. It will be merged soon.
okay. Well, good. Even small wins are wins, so it's good. Um, okay, so next, that was the only new one I saw, and I did not see anything that had closed this week, as far as I could tell. Um, but there were a couple that were updated. So there's been some discussion on the this kind of work in progress PR that I've got for RocksDB store to try to kind of redo some of the RocksDB settings. Adam and I had a really good conversation earlier this week about it. He expressed some concern about how drastically we'd be changing the some of the settings that we've had for so long. And I think it's valid to be worried about that. One thing he was particularly concerned about is the read amplification impact, which it is it's quite possible that some of the new settings that I was looking at may make read amplification worse, but at the benefit of making writes faster and maybe actually helping a little bit on write amplification, although that's still kind of uh, it, it's probably close either way. But in any event, uh, all of this tuning is really a balancing act. So he's going to look at a couple of situations he's concerned about. We did see some evidence that RGW bucket index listing may be a little bit slower. So that may also be some evidence that Adam's concerned about that is correct. Then it's just a question of how do we, what do we want the defaults to be? Do we want to kind of favor making writes faster, possibly at the expense of making reads a little slower? How much write amplification are we willing to take on, if any, over what we have now? Um, Another thing that factors into this somewhat, especially for RGW, is compression. It looks like we can greatly improve write amplification if we compress, probably specifically the O-node column families. Um, and Kevin, offshoot of that, we were talking about whether or not we should start looking at per column family default settings rather than global settings across all of RocksDB. And maybe that we want to treat different column families differently, which is really complicated, but it may be worthwhile if we're seeing drastically different behavior um, in terms of how those column families are used. So anyway, lots and lots of discussion there. Um, he also brought up the idea that we could maybe look at submitting a pull request against RocksDB to add the ability to, they already have the ability to look at how many tombstones you've iterated over um, versus other key value pairs and issuing a compaction if you see too many tombstones on iteration. What they don't have is the ability to execute memtable flushes if you see lots of tombstones in a memtable. So Adam's thought is that we might be able to extend that in RocksDB itself rather than like tracking deletes on our end. And I'm, uh, at first I was kind of thinking, well, I don't know if we want to submit anything to RocksDB. It's not worked out so well in the past sometimes. but it's still a good idea. Potentially, it could be maybe better than modifying our own uh, RocksDB key value interface to like track deletes ourselves. So anyway, lots of kind of interesting discussion around that. We'll see where it all goes. Um, all right, so next, Igor's PR for getting rid of StatFS updates. I think that got more fixes. Um, and then this PR for RGW Bench, this atomic writer benchmarking. Dang reviewed that, and there's been some further discussion on it. And that was all I saw. Did I miss anything from anybody? All right. Well then, let's see. I already kind of talked about this RocksDB tracking deletes and kind of alternate approaches. There was one other topic. Casey at the leads meeting mentioned that they want to make a change to enabling uh, boost Valgrind by default and also turning off the system boost by default. So basically, this change would mean that we build Valgrind ourselves instead of using the system, or sorry, build boost ourselves rather than the system boost, and that we, when we build it, we enable Valgrind support. And the concern here is that it might have a performance impact. Mark Kogan yesterday did some testing with RGW and said he did see maybe a little impact, but it was within the noise. So it's not clear if there might not even have been any impact, but if there was, it was pretty minimal. I offered to do some further testing with this, just using RBD and looking at the OSD cycles per op numbers that we've seen before, and just kind of verify that we're not seeing huge impact on the OSD side either. If that'll go ahead.
Why do we expect any effect? I'm not sure I understand.
Apparently, there's so the way that this works. It just results in a little bit of extra CPU overhead for certain parts of Valgrind, or sorry, certain parts of Boost. Oh, hey, Casey just came. So, Casey, I forgot what was it in the Boost Valgrind change that where you were seeing a potentially slower performance or more overhead. It was something with context. Is that right?
Hey, Mark. Um, so we're just trying to evaluate in general linking against boost builds with the Valgrind flag enabled. The place where that flag fixes RGW is related to the boost context library.
Yeah. Was there something? I thought I remember you saying something about that. It was just like a little bit, possibly a little bit more overhead in certain functions or something.
Yeah, I've only looked at the boost context source to see how it uses it, and it basically every time that we spawn a coroutine, it has to register its stack with Valgrind.
Sure.
I believe that RGW is the only user of boost context, and Mark Kogan's investigation showed very, very little overhead. So I'm hoping that it doesn't make a difference for the rest of Ceph.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm guessing too. I was just mentioning the testing that Mark Hogan did, and then that I'll just quick spin up a test cluster with with the parent version from main, and then well, I guess it's not even a commit, so just turn it on and off and see what happens. So yeah, I should be able to do that for you pretty quickly, Casey. I'll try to do that today.
Thanks, Mark. That's a huge help.
Yep. Yep, no problem. And on that note, I think that's all I had today, folks. So I'll open it up. Does anyone have anything they would like to talk about this week? All right. Then have a great week, everybody, and see you next week.
Mark, can I have
Yeah,
you for a minute to something not performance related?
yeah, absolutely. Do you want to just stay on in here, or do you want to do a separate room?
Yeah, we can stay here. It's just
Okay.
regarding the officinalis note. You know what? If you
Yeah,
want
sure.
to have this recording as part of the performance meeting, so let's skip to another. I send you a Google Meet. 1 second.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. All right. Have a great day, guys.